And we're almost there. There we go. And we're live-ish from all over the world. Yeah, man, we're kind of across the states. Last night we did one. Well, first off, this is welcome to the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm here with the co-host
G
and our guest today,
Rob. Nice to meet you guys. Shout out to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So last night, recording someone, me here in Minnesota, someone in Philadelphia, and then someone in Oregon, and so it's sort of the same today. Just kind of got people.
We just replaced one from Michigan. So
represent the mitten,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You gotta know where you are there on the mitten. That's I learned that about 10 years ago. I don't know what year it is. My friend Isabella, she's like taught me that, and so I knew where she was. I have to get the right side, but it was over there. I think over there. Whatever side Lake Michigan's on, I get confused on the mitten.
Yeah, the pinky side. Michigan's on the pinky side.
Michigan's on the pinky side. So it's like right there from there. So,
all I know is that the guys like Chris Sabin and all those guys were doing it in TNA. That's how I know that hand signal. That's the only thing I do in life is relate everything to wrestling. So as you guys are talking about that and the hand thing, I'm like, oh yeah, Chris, those guys from TNA. That's sad. It's like sitting there and talking about makeup, and then I'm like, oh, Ultimate Warrior. No, Erica's all like, no, I need to go get some eyeliner from like Target, and I'm like, I know, but that's what I think about.
Does the music start playing in your head too? Like, do you get the entrance music?
No,
you're not that bad.
It depends on what crappy show I've watched for the week of what music goes on in my head. If it's anything like Sunday, there's nothing going on in my head anymore. So I know we don't want to get into. So Rob, the thing that we're trying to do on the show is not go into so much new stuff, but we did tend to do that last week. We did. We did. But if we're gonna go a little on the new stuff, let's just get it out. Everyone else has.
Yeah.
The zombie. Yeah. That was horrible. I watched it. I narrated it to you through the phone. And man, I don't know where we're going anymore.
It was a joke. It was intended to be a joke though. So I don't understand. We're okay with, Undertaker can break through the ground and be put in a casket 100 times over, and we can throw people off.
But he's a dead man. But we already made it that it is a dead man. Where do we set the fiend on fire and ripping out Ray's eyeball?
But the Miz is gone.
Yeah, well, that's because he got the knee injury now. I guess it's an ACL tear. 9 months.
You're breaking kayfabe, man.
You
can't do that. It's those. It was the zombies did it. The zombies ate him. He's gone.
You know what it was all about, though, and what we're all about. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you got to give the guys credit. I'm not a Damian Priest fan. He's like the male version of Tamina to me. Wow, that's hard to say. Tamina to me. All right, anyway. So that's how he comes off to me. He's very goofy-footed. I can see his knees blowing out anytime, but I'll give the guy credit. I'll give Miz credit. I'll give Nappy Hair Morrison credit. They had to do their job, and I get that at the end of the day. They had to do their job, but for looking at the company's standpoint decision, that I don't even know if I can tune into the next show now. I don't.
It's okay to fly to Saudi Arabia and get that money, right? We're okay with that.
Don't they also ask for like Yokozuna to come back too? That's how far behind on their shows they are. Like they still think they're retired or still around.
Who?
Their TV timing on the Iraqi shows and anything like that are well behind, like 5-10 years, I guess.
My time hop came up today and said Macho Man's still alive, but that was like it was when the Wrestling All Stars video game came out, and I was like so hyped that I could be Macho Man again. But I know we're getting off topic.
What is all the drama going on with the Macho Man.
The
So
what?
there was
The
some
what?
tape released. Was there a documentary going on about the Macho Man? And
Yeah.
then that would happen. I got to catch up on that this week. I got to do a
Yes.
lot of Dark Side of the Ring.
No, it's not Dark Side of the Ring.
Was that the Jim
What
Ross
is it?
stuff or something?
No, it's a thing on it. It's an A&E biography thing. They've done Stone Cold. They've done Piper. They've done Macho, Booker T, and I'm someone else I'm forgetting. But
All
they're
right, see,
like
I'm
an
gonna
hour
write
and a half,
down
2
homework
hours
for the
long.
week. This is definitely
What's
going to
that?
be some homework stuff. I got to write down some notes for homework for the week, so that'll be one of
Oh,
them
good.
to check out.
Yeah, no,
So-
they're pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
So,
No, I heard,
So
and
this-
then go for it.
so does today mark the 10th anniversary of his death?
No way, really? It was
Yeah.
2011, so it could be very well
Yeah.
could be
Of who?
Macho.
Macho. Today he passed 10 years ago today.
No way.
Yeah, and my time hop was from 11 years ago today when the Wrestling All-Stars game came out and he was featured on the cover, I think. So it's weird that maybe it didn't come
Oh.
out that same day. I don't want to speculate that it released a year before his death or anything. I'm just cheap and I probably waited to buy it when it was on a discount somewhere.
Nice.
That-
And then,
Yeah.
well, we got to jump on one side real quick, though. We lost the guy. We lost New Jack.
Oh, right. That's who the
Yeah.
third person was.
And a lot of people, you think of New Jack. What do you guys think of? ECW, jumping
ECW.
off the railings, right?
Yep.
But the one thing that stands out for New Jack for me is that the guy could cut a promo that would kind of make you go, that made me a little uncomfortable to watch. And so
Like what he
I
did in
love
Smoky
promos
Mountain.
that make you uncomfortable. That's the
Smoky
ones
Mountain
that,
was the
that
best.
make you think. See, and now that's what Corny was talking about on his podcast the other night, is that if you want to learn about New Jack and not sit there and criticize that he was just an extreme hardcore wrestler, is that he started out in Smoky. And, he was a wrestler before he went hardcore. He just found what worked for him, like any wrestler will.
Yeah. And
So that's why I always sit there and get pissed off, because, guys will sit there and train wreck the hardcore community and sit there and say it was garbage wrestling. But then we had mocking people like Gilbert and supported those guys in the business, and they amounted to a lot less than hardcore. So,
Yeah, I
still
think
getting paid.
that's two different extremes still getting paid. And
yeah. 58, though. 58 years old. That's young.
58, man, heart attack. That's
There he is.
no way.
Oh, New Jack went. Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's the thing of three. So it was New Jack, Charles Grodin, and
Hedge
Paul
funds.
Mooney.
Oh, sorry.
Who'd you say?
Hedge funds. They have
Oh,
an
yeah.
idea. We're working on that.
Little Paul Mooney.
Yeah, Paul Mooney.
Yeah. Is it and Charles Grodin? Is that right? Is that his name? Charles Grodin, the guy who was like in like Beethoven and Clifford
Yeah.
and
Erica
Yeah.
just brought him
Yeah.
up yesterday, I think it was. She brought him up, and she was like, yeah, he's in all these movies and everything like that. And I had to look at him for a minute. I'm like, oh, that guy. That kind of reminds me of a Phil Hartman kind of a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Kind of.
didn't realize he passed at 86.
That guy was
Yeah.
86?
86.
I didn't realize he was that old either.
How old was he in Beethoven? Like 50?
Beethoven was in 92.
Oh, God.
So that means he would have been like 50, somewhere around 50, no, 55, somewhere around there. If he's 86 and it's 92, so somewhere around 55. Holy crap. I thought he was way younger than that then.
So did I.
Something like
I
that.
hope I'm a spring chicken looking dude when I'm 57.
Yeah, if I'm 57, or I'm not going to be 86. I might be 57, but if I hope I look Charles
Yeah.
Grodin good.
So
It just all reminds us to get checked out a lot sooner and more often at the doctors. That's what it reminds me to do. And life goes way too quick, because it just feels like yesterday I was sitting at my buddy's place watching New Jack jump off onto Spike Dudley onto a table. So, yeah, it just reminds you how quick things go, because I'm sitting there reminiscing the other night, and I don't do it anymore. I don't do the tribute videos anymore, because I know what I'm going to do. So, I don't do that stuff. It gets me all in a bad place. But, yeah, no, that guy was, from what I heard, a good guy. but on camera, really played his role well. Really played it well.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else is in the news for the week? Oh, gotta think here. After that zombie thing, I didn't want to watch anything else. It was so horrible.
The boneyard match. The boneyard match was okay though. I mean, all these other things. I'll throw out.
Compare it to that, but it's not saying too much more. It's any of these theatrical things they do, and that includes AEW, that whole Sting thing. It's a bunch of crap.
Where he's dragging Darby behind him, and they get pulled over like 3 times while they're filming the thing.
Oh, was that the most recent one? I was talking about the one with where they go against Cage and Team Taz.
Oh yeah, when they did the cinematic match.
Yeah.
That was the lead-in.
Here's the thing that I was hoping on from last week, because we wanted you on the show last week, because there was a topic we hit on, and then I talked to you on the phone. And I was like, hey, Rob, we hit these topics, and you grew up with WCW and stuff like that. And I talked to you about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Ric Flair. Maybe you could throw some heat at us about, maybe possibly being a fan since you like WCW. But Rob comes back and says, I'm not a fan of those guys.
The highlight for Ricky.
Like, okay, where are the fans?
No, the highlight for Ricky was, I'll never forget when it was, I think it was Saturday night's main event, when him and Jake the Snake were into it, hardcore, and Jake was bringing down Damien, and then all of a sudden here comes this freaking Komodo dragon or whatever that Ricky brought down, and to me, that was a moment that I'll never forget. As a kid, I was like, wow, this is really cool. This guy's, he's bringing a dragon to come slay this snake and stuff, and that was it for me. Other than that, I can't even tell you what Ricky's finishing maneuver was. Was it like a flying body press or something like that?
Yeah. Was it?
I think so. It was the flying body press.
Crossbody.
He's a good company guy, but he never. I don't know.
Well, this is what we talked about last week. It was because certain things were trendy then, and what was trendy back then was kung fu. And so he was who else was in the business that would have lived up to a Bruce Lee look? Was there anybody else?
No.
I can't think of anybody. I mean, we kind of talked about where things have changed in the business, also using certain terms like the Orient Express, and going over to Peacock and cutting out and editing all that content.
Did they really?
I don't know yet, but I'm sure they will. I mean, the first thing they went after is Piper being half white, half black. They did that.
They took that off?
Yeah, yep. From my very first pay-per-view I ever saw, and that stood out to me. I was like, what is this guy doing? He's fucking nuts. I'm like, crazy man. But, and you know what? That just answered a question for me. Why Ricky the Dragon Steamboat action figure comes with that Komodo dragon. I didn't know that, so I'd never seen that before.
I just want one that it's where he doesn't have the headband on. Just give me one that he doesn't have a headband on, so that I can pop the head off and put it on a suited fig, and he can be backstage like he really is today. But
the thing is, so we want to find a fan. We got to find that hardcore Steamboat fan, not one that's going to go after Rocker on the show where they're like, oh, you guys are bullshit. It's Steamboat, Like, I'm a Shawn Michaels fan. I'm saw people out there like, that guy, oh, he's a weirdo, he was dressed in those weird suits and flamboyant and stuff like that. Well,
I know what I'm going to do. For your birthday, you're getting a Ricky Steamboat cameo.
I'm not having a birthday this year.
Well, I hate to break it to you.
Forever.
I hate to break it to you, but Ricky's giving you a shout out on that 40th in July.
Oh, fuck that.
That'd be great.
See if I can get him to hang out with Luger, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, see, that's the other one. So, like I said before, from what I've learned, Lex Luger's become a really great guy, and he's tried to help a lot of people out there these days, and he's trying to pay back, and he's admitted that he wasn't the best guy back in his wrestling days, and like I said, character and the person themselves will separate, but I'm talking about the character Lex Luger. Where's the fan base? Where's the fan club? Where's that person where's the stalker? I mean, everyone in wrestling's got a stalker. I mean, look at Finn Balor. But you ever heard about that? Oh, it's crazy. Finn Balor fan?
Yeah.
He gets kicked out of all these shows with really inappropriate signs in the crowd and around, and she's like saying really inappropriate shit to Finn Balor through the crowd. Like, it's horrible.
Is it she?
Yeah, check it out on YouTube when we get done today. Just go to Finn Balor Crazy Fan. But no, man, Lex Luger. There's absolutely no one I've ever met that's like, yeah, Lex Luger's awesome. He's great. He's number one. I got posters all over my wall. I got all his action figures. There's not that many, but they got them.
I'm gonna send you a link. There's a Facebook fan page called the Total Package. Lex Luger fan
is
page.
it like 5 fans?
No, there's 3,400.
I was going to say
you can get
34.
one of them to get pretty damn close, about the same. I think you can get one of those on the show. We'll post on there. Post a link to the show, and invite one to come on.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
I just don't need those ones that are gonna hunt me down because I'm hating on Lex Luger as a character, not as.
This will tell you everything you know about Lex Luger fans, though. The page was created by a lady named Kathy who she wrote her about in all caps. So she's making sure you know she's a fan. Hi, my name's Kathy. I'm putting this page together because I'm one of many Lex Luger's fans. So if, and then she never finished. Like, that's what it says to me about. If I want more info about the page, that's what I get. So
wow.
And then she stopped being a fan.
Yeah, I bet there's gonna be someone who's super into it. If you go and you post that on the page, I'll post it. I'll post it on there. I'll take all the heat for that, man. We'll bring someone on that has that much love for Luger that they hit
makes
like.
Me wonder if it's abandoned.
Makes you wonder what?
If the site's abandoned. She didn't even finish her whole her whole sentence.
Oh. Yeah, well, I mean,
she had 3,000 likes in January. So, I mean, 3,000 in January, and she's up to 3,500 people follow her, but only 3,400 like the page. So.
Now, what about Steamboat? Is there a Steamboat fan page?
Well, there's got to be a much bigger following for Steamboat.
Yeah.
You got to get at least 9.
Yeah, I would say a good 8,000-9,000 people.
No, there's a private group. G knew all about it. There's a private group with 34 people, just like G said. 34.
Oh.
There's a fan page with 200 people.
This is what I'm talking about. And it's all what I base it off is that everyone can turn around and say he had a great match with Flair, he had a great match with or Macho Man, and so on.
Hey, speaking of zombies, because I googled Ricky though, so it comes up and it says Andrew Lincoln and Rick Grimes fans, and there's 30,000 people that were fans of Rick Grimes from AMC's The Walking Dead. So I mean, zombies may be a good thing. I'm
but I mean, like, if you see the number of fans for Luger and
you got 34. That's
Steamboat. But then you go and you type in the Flair or the Macho Man, and I'm sure there's fucking probably close to 1 million on each of those. No problem. And I mean, that's who carried it. It wasn't Steamboat carrying it. But then, yeah, I had the part where I said that the WrestleMania 3 was just a fucking spot match. It was a fucking dance. 162 planned moves. Every single move planned to a fucking T. And I mean, it was great, but it's only because, I don't know, people say it's great.
You can turn around and say Ric Flair's had a great match with dozens of people. Macho Man, you can go down the list, and he carried a lot of great, well, I wouldn't say great stars. If you had to carry them, I would say the characters that got over with the fans, Warrior being one of them. Anyone who wrestled Warrior usually had to carry that guy.
The career-ending match at WrestleMania 7.
That wasn't that bad. A lot of people bash it. I don't mind.
Yeah, WrestleMania 7 was an interesting
Jake the Snake versus the model in the
blindfold match.
I love that match. Everyone hates it.
Oh, dude, it's great. I love that shit. Like, I think there should be more blindfold matches. But they should only be after something crazy like that. Like when they sprayed fucking Jake with the DDT in the eye, the model did, and then he came back on the
was it Brother Love Show?
The Love Show, yeah. And like he comes out and he's got that fucking weird eye that's all like, white, and they're like, Whoa!
To me, that around that time, that was a little like it was a little when you like beyond its time, because you even had the same like around the same time as the Cobra biting the Macho Man in the arm. I mean, there's no way of faking that. You really had to have him bite Macho in the arm. And so, like, when that happened, I remember seeing that kid's face in the crowd of, like, oh my God, they got the snake biting Macho's arm. That was awesome. And so, yeah, no, it was pretty crazy. Let's see what else we got going on this week. Rob's going to jump out for just a brief moment. But, yeah, man, I'd love to see a fan come on here. And I don't want to get into an argument with the guy, you know, or girl, whatever. Or you do? You do? So, you know, I'll be there to, what do you want to call it?
Moderate?
Yeah. I'll bring some questions. And then I want to hear, like, both sides. Like, you know, what do you think his worst match was? What do you think his best match was? You know, like, it's hard to say with a straight face. I'm just saying.
Do you think
here's one topic, man.
I'd want a fan on there who thinks that there's a better match of Steamboats than the one against Flair or the one against Macho.
Okay.
I think that would be an interesting one. And I mean, like, I'm not gonna totally just bury this person and shit all over them. I'm gonna tell them they're a fucking idiot probably, but I mean, everyone has their own opinion, and I'm gonna let the person have their opinion, and that's fine. We can agree to disagree, because I mean, what are you gonna do? I'm like, oh, fuck you, you know. But I mean, we're wrestling fans, so I mean,
wrestling mind.
What?
That'll be a whole new segment. Well, we'll do Ink Infringement and bring it from a different show and change Rusty's mind. You know, you got to convince this guy that Steamboat was something. So
I would like that.
We're not bashing on the guy personally. We're sure he's a great guy, you know, but it's the character. There's guys out there that you're given material, you're given resources, everything, but it's up to you to get it over. It's not like they can actually stick their hand physically up someone's ass and go, I got you to do whatever I want. You got to do your part, you know, and I just don't feel that Ricky did his part through his career getting himself over.
I don't think so either. It was just...
Promos are horrible, too.
What?
Promos. Horrible, by the way.
What was there to do, like, for him? I mean, what's he going to say? I mean, there's nothing... There wasn't, I mean, really any reason for him to have any promos where it's something big, except maybe that those two matches, the Macho and Macho and Flair, like those two matches, like those, he probably should have had good promos going up to those, because there was great build up. Which that's one thing that's lacking now, I believe, is build up for anything. The payoffs are always way too fast, and they don't matter. There's not really stories. It's more spot
I was trying to measure that the other day. So I was going back to our days of watching like WrestleMania 6, WrestleMania 7, up to 10. I'm watching how long those storylines last. They're really, really not much longer than the storylines today. It just... When we're a kid, it's kind of like, you know, Christmas takes forever to get here.
Yeah.
So storylines were lasting a little bit longer in our eyes because time took a little bit longer in our eyes. Now, we're older, and just like we kind of talked about just a few minutes ago, time goes by a lot quicker. And so now, because of social media and everything, we can sit there and easily do our 2020 hindsight and be a critic and everything, look back and say these were the better times. But how were we looking at it back then? I mean, we were. It's like being in a Hook movie. You're a kid looking at this great adventure of wrestling, and these guys are actually heroes. As we've grown up as adults, some of these guys that were heroes are douchebags. And then some of them that were shitty little characters are awesome guys. And so lots changed, and just those views on wrestling, I don't know if it's actually length of time of things going fast. I think it's more the depths of the storylines. They're not putting so much detail for you to get hooked into them, to want more. We're just blowing them off and ignoring them. And when you ignore something, it kind of does go by a little bit faster. So I don't know. That's my opinion on it. Some storylines go quick, but yeah.
I feel like there's not really. I mean, if there wasn't back then yeah, it was much different writing where you would really get behind someone. But I feel like, I mean, so let's go or go indie here.
Yeah.
So in indie, you got people that write on their Twitter like, "Oh, let me work with so and so. Someone book this." And then you get all these fans that want to see it, and it's bullshit. It's like it's just to see them do stupid fucking spots.
Yeah.
And I mean, people love that though, but it's just it's
That's
not.
yeah, that's today's
not
world.
for me.
Who's Floyd Mayweather gonna fight now? Is it the Paul brothers or something? I don't even know.
Are they still doing that? I thought they were in a lawsuit for 120 mil now.
I don't know. I don't follow reality TV. Wrestling's real enough for me.
Yeah, that's what I love. UFC is getting hassled by Trilla and all those guys right into all that, and it's just But yeah, I got storylines.
It's the time. It's the. I was trying to find it, and I don't think there's really something that's out there for it. But it's the amount of TV time that we now have at our
Too
fingertips.
much.
We got I mean, the ratings fights between AEW and NXT. Now NXT is moving nights to Tuesday, right? And then you've got AEW is going to start
shows now. They're going to have one.
Rampage.
They're moving to TBS and have two different shows.
Yeah. Next thing you know, they'll be airing simultaneously and fighting each other for ratings. I mean, it's too much. It's too much. I get
see. I mean,
there's
3
a lot of
hours
performers out there,
Mondays,
but
2 hours Tuesdays, 2 hours Wednesday. What's on Thursdays? Impact Thursday?
I think so.
And that's like an hour or two.
Yeah.
And then you got SmackDown. I mean, we're heading into 10 hours of content live a week.
And that's
And
just
we grew up with 2 hours, but we grew up with 4 to 5 hours, but that was where we're bouncing back and forth channel to channel, dividing those 2 hours up, and we're like, oh, he's on. Wait, how is Rude right there, and how is Rude right there? Oh, that's amazing. He just, now it's the fun of it. You can't get that now. You can't be all like, oh, like here's Miro or whatever, and then all of a sudden, he's on the next show.
Well, and look at the and again, I always like to look at it from a business perspective, but look at WWE cracking down on all of the third-party social networking and wanting people to, not be able to make money off of it. It's not necessarily about them making money off their likeliness or their likeness or whatever. It's about the fact that they're exposing the business by interacting and engaging with people beyond the scope of what is being written by a writer. And that's the problem. You can't as a writer, I'm not going to defend the Freddie Prinze Jr.'s of the world and all the people who think they could write for wrestling, but
I heard he didn't do too bad.
No, I didn't think so either. I say it because he's probably the most prominently known across beyond the scope of wrestling, right?
For sure.
Is that these guys have to write, and granted, they got to go to Vince, and Vince kiboshes it all. And I mean, Tony Khan has stepped back and stake claim to things he said he'd never do, and they've already started to do them, and they're in year 2 already. So, I mean, to me, a writer's job is so difficult today. To be able to attempt to write and keep somebody focused on that, and then they can go on their social media and be the same person and do different things. I mean, outside of Lacey Evans, who at one point, you could never see her not break character. There's nobody like that today. There's nobody like that. So these guys are trying to write, and we've got people that are sports entertainers that are phenomenal athletes that most of them can't really act, attempting to act based on writing material that's not necessarily the greatest. I get it. It's not. And maybe they're not putting forth the effort because they know a good storyline, if it doesn't hit in week 1 and the ratings don't pop for it, then Vince is putting a kibosh to it. And you see that time and time again in things like Raw Underground and all these other crazy things that they throw at us. But I mean, I don't know. I can't blame the people behind the scenes without taking a look at the whole scope of it and saying, okay, there's way too many shows, but that tells me that from an audience perspective, we want it. Now, step back, look at it from NFL, right? NFL started dabbling and trying to do football. COVID gave them an opportunity to display nationally broadcast NFL games on multiple nights a week, right? They were on Monday nights, they were on Tuesday nights, they were back on Thursday, they were back on Sunday. And they've got the unwritten rule where they try to stay away from college football Saturdays and things like that until playoffs come. But people were loving it. People were loving to be able to watch a football game on a Tuesday night. So that's where we're at. Everybody wants everything they can get to when they can get to it. And if they can't get to it, then they'll just go watch it on YouTube. They'll just go watch the replay. They'll watch the highlights. They'll do what they need to do. And they'll bash it. They'll destroy it. They'll say how horrible it is. But they'll come back and watch it next week.
They're going to watch next week.
Yeah,
maybe it'll get better.
Like, we bounce back to what I was talking about being a kid. It's that, for wrestling, you had Saturday Night Main Event, and pay-per-views came, every 3 months? Because there's only, 4 pay-per-views a year? And
it was only like once every 4 weeks at least.
Yeah.
If not.
Yeah, so it
was on instead of SNL.
I think what we've done now is kind of, with anything, and it's not just wrestling and stuff, is that we've taken things for granted, and we don't have to be excited anymore because we don't have to wait for it anymore.
Right.
And that's wrestling storylines. If we bitch enough in the crowd, we boo enough, even though it's a great storyline, kids are digging it, like I kind of complained about last week, where, it's a PG rating, and we got 40, 50, 60-year-old men bashing a kid's show. And that's why I kind of sit there and try to understand the zombie thing. But then again, my little girl sees zombies on TV, she kind of freaks out. And that's not going to attract a new viewer to your show when you got something freakish.
But it's okay to have Adam Rose have all the bunnies and all the, and No Way Jose have his Congo line and all that. It's the same stuff.
I know they're two terrible gimmicks.
Absolutely. I don't disagree.
Adam Rose wasn't too bad, though.
But how much revenue as a shareholder of WWE did they make from those storylines? Nobody was paying them.
You got a whole behind the signs right there.
Yeah, nobody was paying them. Hey, we want a Congo line. We're going to sponsor you. And Snickers is going to give you more money if you do a Congo line in your show.
Yeah, they got a lot of indie guys some fucking extra work to go be in that.
David got over better.
I candidly said that, beyond Scotty Too Hottie, were all the other guys the ones that they just got released. Was that
great guy, by the way. Got to sit with him for a couple hours and eat enchiladas. No, I wanted to jump over because there's the Nick Gage documentary this week, or the Dark Side of the Ring.
I watched it.
Oh man, I get it. I get a passion for wrestling. That was like meth in a wrestling ring. Like I get your heart for it and all that stuff, man, and all that. But using some of the excuses he used in that thing for falling down in life was just excruciating just to listen to. And I don't know what to think of the guy. I don't know a whole lot about him. I've seen him here and there. I know he's known for doing some extreme shit in wrestling. And we just talked about New Jack. Love the guy. Love the personality. Love the promos. He made me feel really uncomfortable in watching his promos, but that's why I love New Jack. This guy, I don't get it. And why I try, like I said, I try to get everything. I've watched the Dark Side of the Ring. Were they trying to get sympathy? What were they trying to do? Like, how did you guys feel about it? Did you guys watch it? How do you guys feel about the guy?
I didn't really know. I've heard the name, and that's really about it. I knew he was a hardcore guy, but then, it wasn't really much of a. I mean, the story was he was a guy who he died and then like during the match, and he came back, and then he went to prison, and then he came back, and then he went to prison, and he came back, and then he almost killed David Arquette.
without a mask being known as a somewhat of a wrestling celebrity. That was a brainiac move.
Wait, that what?
He robbed a bank without a mask on.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a smart one.
In his defense, for $3,000, he thought he was at the ATM. He just forgot his debit card.
Yeah, right. Now, here's what pisses me off about it. Really, is that we're giving that time to a person like that. And I like even watch. I think they do a great show.
Yeah.
But that was that was a waste of time. Sorry, that we could have put someone else there, like Dynamite Kid. Let's really do another venture into the Dynamite Kid because he was robbed of the Hall of Fame.
Wasn't he trying to banter with Moxley though? Is that what he was?
Yeah, they did a run this weekend. Moxley ran in on a show this weekend for Nick Gage. Nick Gage was doing a show, and out of nowhere, Moxley showed up. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. Out of nowhere.
That was for the documentary.
GCW.
It was for the documentary. It's all, it's all just this behind the scenes. Let's get our exposure. Let's, look at, I don't know. I up until this year, didn't even know who the guy was. I don't follow a lot of independents because I just personally I don't have time. I look at wrestling as it's every man's soap opera, and I enjoy.
And can you call independents though anymore? Is it really the indies anymore, or is it just anyone who has a physique who can't do any wrestling, or someone who doesn't have a physique who can do wrestling? We're just at that really shitty medium wrestling where everyone's doubting it really bad.
Well,
I don't know.
I used to own an indoor football league, right? And I used to watch these college athletes that had far superior talent to some folks that are in the NFL, but politics may have prevented them or some of the things they may have done. If they would have robbed a bank, they'd never make it to the NFL, that sort of thing. But I also saw a lesser degree of overall talent within the organization. And that's essentially what these independents are, right? They call themselves independents. They're not independents. They're all, we're opening doors and we're starting to cross promote AEW and Impact and stuff because ultimately they know in order to compete with a publicly traded company of the magnitude that WWE is, everybody's got to get together, right? They got to be the apes of the wrestling world to try to fight off the WWE. And I can't get into some of these guys. This Nick Gage doesn't do it. I'll never probably watch the documentary. Maybe I'll listen to it. It may be in the background while I'm working someday, but probably not.
And the both of you guys know me and my love for ECW and hardcore wrestling. But this I can't do. This is this. How stupid can you be in wrestling? That's kind of what I got from you almost cut yourself open, almost died. I get wrestling. I love it. It's a big passion of mine. This guy's a fool. He doesn't give it a good name.
There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no reason to fucking pull out this shit when it's your first fucking match with someone.
Yep.
Maybe, if that's your thing, I don't know. Sometimes that's the thing, and that's what people do. I guess that's what he does, and it's weird. There's no reason to pull out weapons. Maybe if you're the heel, but with hardcore wrestlers, are there really heels and faces from them, and stuff like that? When Nick Gage worked against David Arquette, who do you root for? I don't know.
After watching that show, David Arquette, and I didn't think I would ever David Arquette.
You know what? I love watching David Arquette, his new shit. I fucking love it.
Yeah, no,
I wish there was more. I really do.
I'm on a new adventure with that.
You what?
I'm on a new adventure with David Arquette and checking his stuff out.
Dude,
are you going back to watch all the Scream movies?
Oh, no. Whoa.
Okay.
No.
I watched the Scream movies lately. I watched.
I will be watching the Friends reunion
recently. What?
You might need to. Nothing.
The Who reunion?
Nothing.
Friends.
Let's get on wrestling. So, one thing I did really enjoy this week, and it was a small little segment, is that they allowed Heyman to go on before talking smack and talk about New Jack. again. You know, I'll bounce back again. You couldn't show anything, anything that New Jack ever did because he never did anything PG. So never anything. Yeah, it's I don't know where we're going after this weekend with the zombies. I don't know where we're going just in general in AEW because you're talking about storylines. I want to talk about a little bit about factions, especially ones from back in the day that we all grew up on.
Yeah.
What's your guys' favorite faction of all time?
I don't even know. I mean,
Mine's got to be DX,
I'd say DX, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, like growing up, I mean that would be it because like when we were younger, there wasn't a lot of factions. I mean, there was like the Heenan family and shit, but other than that, there wasn't really any other factions. There's people that Jimmy Hart was managing, but it was only people that were managed by someone that were the factions growing up. So then, that's a good answer.
Oh. You got to say beginning NWO though.
Yes, NWO. Yeah. Full disclosure.
Not the 54 members of the NWO like a year later.
I was an NWO guy. That was the biggest when Hogan came out and made the turn. That was amazing. That was the last time I was ever fooled by wrestling.
I got the goosebumps just saying that. You know, like that was an amazing fucking part right there. Just watching Hogan turn to the black and white, and it was an amazing transformation. It's never fucking expected.
Right, and people wanted to see it again with Cena. People wanted to see Cena do that.
But if he would have done it,
make the heel turn.
They would have sat there and said that was a ripoff.
Oh yeah, I mean, why do we have a WWE Mattel figure for John Cena in the NWO shirt just because he was in a Firefly Funhouse match with Bray?
That's the closest we're gonna get to it.
Right, and we all wanted it. We may not.
There's been other times. But other times in wrestling, Hulk Hogan turning, there's a way that it was done differently before that. One of my favorite, Shawn Michaels turning on Jannetty in the barbershop. That was another one that got everyone where it's like, oh my god, like, because rockers were colorful, bouncing around guys, and then all of a sudden
there was build up. There was
build up.
There was good writing back then.
Yeah, you saw that going, like you saw it happening, little things, and eventually just culminated with the old barbershop there, and
nowadays you just wait. You just sit here and wait. I mean, Mysterios. Let's face it. Call it today. We know that eventually they're going to lose the titles because they're going to fight each other, and that's going to be Ray's retirement match. Dominic's going to retire Ray, but that's how tag teams are. They break up. It's evolution of wrestling, but it all comes full circle to the same things. I mean, it's like a Mad Lib. You could just change the names from 20 years ago and do it all over again, and people would pop for it again. So, I mean, but I don't know. I still go NWO. I'll never forget. I remember being at a live show in Saginaw, Michigan. It was I don't think it. I know. You know what it was? It was a live NWO Nitro or WCW Nitro event, and it was. They had Sting fall from the ceiling, and
the mannequin.
But they dropped the mannequin down, and that was well before Owens, unfortunate mishap. But it was something that I witnessed firsthand. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I don't know. I was just a mark back then. Maybe I'm not a mark anymore. So. If we want wrestling to be the wrestling it was before. It's real simple. Take your phone, turn it off. Take your internet, turn it off. Don't DVR. Don't just go watch it. Go watch anything, any wrestling show and give it 3 months. And you'll come back and you'll say about the highs and the lows, and you'll say, the crazy stuff. I mean, who was it? Johnny B. Bad shooting off the confetti shit, and
Little Richard.
Yeah, Little Richard, yeah, and you had the Henry Godwin with the slop, and I mean just crazy corny gimmicks like that. People would enjoy that stuff again. They would eat it
I just
up.
learned 2 cool facts about those guys I never knew. Godwin, hog.
Yeah.
And it's Phineas I. Godwin, pig. Pig and hog. I didn't know that until just recently. I was like, what? I didn't even notice.
It was one of those things you didn't notice, but now you know.
Yeah.
We were talking facts. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get you guys off track.
No, this is what the show is all about. Is the rabbit hole of wrestling, man. It's just where we go down on things here and just get into topics, and then we'll spin off into different areas, and then maybe spin back to them. That's what the show is all about. I love it.
I hate to
But Rob, I think you're going to be leaving us, right?
Yeah. I was going to make a joke at you, but I won't do it to you.
Oh, I'll probably hear in a bit though.
You'll go back and listen to the show and think about what you said right before I had to leave. It wasn't about rabbit holes. You took it a whole other extreme, and I wanted to chuckle, but it could be a family show.
I was about to say something too.
There you go. So.
I was totally about to. I'm like, is it this kind of show? Do I drop this?
Yeah, shoot. I'll let him go down on something after I leave the show. So.
Oh, now I'm cashing what I said.
Hey guys,
that makes sense.
I apologize for having to jump. And looking forward to being back.
Yeah, no, we definitely try to make it back with us next week, and we're going to continue on probably for our next hour here. But we'll hit some more topics back with you again next week, Rob, and we'll watch a couple shows and see how it goes. It's just going to be hard to go back. But hey, Rob, thanks for joining us, man. It's this is going to be a long, fun ride. I hope so. Anyway, that we get to do this for a long time, and I'm so happy for all of us to be together.
Sorry, got to go, guys.
Yeah, run, Rob, run.
Zombies.
Later, brother. So, yeah, man, one topic I did want to jump to this week is one of my favorites of all time. We've talked about him before. It's the Dynamite Kid.
Okay.
And I feel like, personally, he's getting robbed of a lot. And I know he's not exactly, or wasn't the happiest of guy in the end of his career. But yeah, the Hall of Fame really rubbed me the wrong way.
Hall of Fame's kind of bullshit.
Yeah. It's become a very, what do you want to call it? It has a certain structure every single time now. Like you see it coming. You got to have the giant. You got to have the tag team. You got to have the woman. You got to have the celebrity, which is a crock of shit. You don't need to have the celebrity every year. Like, we're giving it to people that do not deserve it. And there's wrestlers out there that have given their whole entire bodies and true carries in the Hall of Fame, and they're not. It just sucks, man. And Dynamite Kid is, I know there's personal differences between him and the company and all that stuff in the past, and he should have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, man, with Davey.
I think we had to wait until he's dead. Dude,
that's another subject I want to get into. I just feel like I would piss a lot of people off by saying it. And that's Owen going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't know.
When that will happen, I don't know.
And you know what? WWE could easily fucking put Owen in the Hall of Fame and just say, fuck you to the Hart family. There's no reason why they can't. They can just be like, well, fuck, Owen's in the Hall of Fame.
Is it just his wife that doesn't want him going in?
What?
Or is it the whole Hart family?
I think I know it's his wife, but I don't know about the rest. But I assume most of the family doesn't want to, but I think they're maybe split. I couldn't imagine all of them still have that much hatred toward him. So hopefully some of them forgave what happened. But I mean, that's a hard fucking thing to do.
Yeah, I mean,
fucking thing.
And here's two different situations with things. You had Brian Pillman die on the road at a hotel. You had Owen Hart die in the ring at a show. But then you look at their significant others and the paths they took. That's what I looked at the other week. You got Melanie, Brian Pillman's widow, who, I'll just put it simply, went down Crack Avenue with a bottle of Jack. Whether she's redeeming herself and trying to put herself back together, I didn't see that during the show. I saw someone needs to have a cigarette and a fix in the middle of the show. And then you go over to Owen Hart's wife. She's a doctor. She continued with her life strongly and everything. She's a very strong-worded woman. She's got her head on her shoulders. And so, I don't know. That was something to look at when I looked at both of those where, you know, people use excuses with people's deaths or losing something in their life, and they go down a really shitty road because of it. It's an excuse. But then, like I said, you look at Owen Hart's wife, and she actually went down and picked up the pieces and continued going for her kids and everything. And it was cool to see that part in wrestling.
Yeah, she was going down the right path.
Yeah, no, it's cool to see that, and hopefully also wrestling supported that too, which, you know, yeah, it's just different scenarios, different people, and different emotions. And watching that documentary and everything, when she talks about Owen and losing, and she kind of just all these mixed emotions, and then you jump over and you watch Pillman's ex, it's just like night and day. It's weird. It's really weird, but I don't think it comes down to their significant others or anybody else. It really comes down to that they earned it. They put their bodies on the line. They were the ones who went in that ring night in, night out, gave their body. They deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. It's nothing negative. It's to put them on a bigger pedestal in life and continue on their legacy. And I feel that sometimes, and it's not just Owen's family, there are a couple others that are not in the Hall of Fame because of people not wanting them in there. But
who's that? Do you know? Or
I can't think of any right now. But
okay.
Yeah. But I know it's happened in the past, and then we've I know Bruno. That was one where it's just personal between each other, but they mended, and he got into the Hall of Fame and everything before he went. And, you know, like, things can be fixed. Warrior is one of them. You know, you never thought they would mend because of the little DVD they did about him, the shit talking he did, the shit talking they did, and it all came full circle, and he came back in there. But
and then
between the wrestler and the company. But, you know, I don't know. I just feel like if you've earned it, you should be there, and it shouldn't be up to anybody else.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, look, there's Eddie Guerrero and Vicky Guerrero, and then there's Chris Benoit, Nancy Benoit. See they did differently.
That's a question I always have, because Nancy was a big part of wrestling. She was part of one of the biggest factions in wrestling.
Yeah.
She was one of the, you know, bigger names. I would say more in the back area. Sullivan, I know he was a big star in the ring and everything. I don't know. I wouldn't say he was
booker
star status, but in the back, he's the booker, writer, creative. Sometimes, you know, coming up with characters. He's a big influence in the back. And so Nancy was with him. There's a lot, but it makes me wonder if Chris Benoit's death will stop Nancy from ever going in the Hall of Fame.
I think so, because they don't want unless they just call her woman, unless they just induct woman. But if they say Nancy Benoit, it's gonna be like, here comes 2007 again, and you know that can't see it happening. And the same reason why they're not gonna ever let his son work. His son wants to be a wrestler, but they're never gonna let him do it, just because he looks just like his dad, and his name's Benoit. He's never gonna go anywhere, and it's shitty. I bet he'd probably be pretty good
if he did. And see, you say that, and then I read some other stuff on it. That wasn't even really doing wrestling. He was just showing up to shows with the belt. I had heard a rumor like that he wasn't like training to do wrestling at all, and then he was just showing up at the shows with the belt now.
Ew.
There's some weird with that going on. Chris's son, the one that looks just like him.
Oh, now he does?
Yeah, that's what I was reading last.
He was showing up at the shows with belts?
Yeah, let me look it up. It was the old big gold WCW belt he was wearing at some show. I'll look it up in a moment here.
That's interesting.
I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible for him to get into wrestling. Where you would want to start is probably in Japan. If you're going to try it, Japan's going to be your best bet.
That's a great point.
I mean,
Japan fucking loved him. They're not going to care that he, whatever.
I mean, they got some dark shit that goes on over there, and they look past it, and they're human beings and everything like that. And if you're going to try it, and you want to see if you can get a start somewhere, I would say Japan for him would be the best start. I mean, and that's for anyone that's gone through. I wouldn't ever want to say something similar because that was just terrible, but yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy, man. And that's where I go back to the what ifs. If Eddie Chris never died, it's kind of like how you're talking about the tag team thing with Art Bar last week. If these things never happened in wrestling, where some wrestling would be, but then these are all chain of events. Like I said, if you didn't have Chris do what he did and Vince kept his storyline going on, I just wanted to know, like, how long that soap opera was going to go on for. Like, it's been a year. Vince has been gone. And with social media and the internet, how good of a job could you really do to hide Vince McMahon?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you have him in his mansion for, like, months on end, and then all of a sudden he's like, ha-ha, I'm back, you son of a bitch. Like, but he would have in a strong, surprising way. Because of the thing I think of when he did that is the one where he's with the Undertaker and he's the, I don't know what, the master of the Undertaker's group. What were they called? The ministry?
Street of Darkness.
And then he's like the leader of it.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Like, he really wanted that soap opera moment, man.
So who was out in 2007? Then I mean that would be the question to see. I mean it wasn't Bruce, because if it was, people would be asking that question all the time on the show. But I mean whoever was writing in 2007, we should go and find and get them on the show and ask them what their next
see where the storyline was going. No, that can't be right, says Vince Russo. Jeez, no, Freddie Prinze Jr. 2007, 2008. So let me look up Freddie Prinze Jr. here to see his years in wrestling, because then, I mean, it's kind of like what Rob was saying. He is a well-known person, but I did hear he didn't do too bad at writing. Like, he had a very good grasp. He was a very big fan of it. Let me see here, coming on up. Wikipedia is a lot easier.
So maybe we got to go and get a hold of Freddie Prinze Jr.
2008 and 2009.
Oh, so maybe not.
So we're going to have to do some homework here. That'll go on my notes for next week.
Yeah, find out who was the writer during the Vince dying, or the Mr. McMahon dying.
Well, it's not one big piece of shit.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. You think it's him?
No. And
it doesn't sound like it was a Russo idea.
What was I listening to last night? Oh, listening to something. I was listening to a show. It was an old podcast, and they were talking about MIA with G.I. Bro. And then, Filthy Animals in WCW. And which one was worse? Which faction? It was obviously MIA. I mean, you're calling someone huge erection. I mean, that right there. But those were obviously dipshits fucking ideas, man. It was Vince Russo's crap. And I've always thought that he went in WCW, and other people think this, to sabotage it. Because, dude, those storylines were like the rip-off versions, second-hand versions of all the Attitude Era storylines.
Right, and the Attitude Era storylines that he fucking worked on were fucking great, for the most part.
But I don't know if it was always all him. And he takes credit for it. He's like, oh, I made Stone Cold, and I made Rock and Goldust, but then you jump over to WCW, and you come off with crap like that. I mean...
Well, because you know what that sounds like? It sounds like fucking Vince McMahon telling. If you think that that's the thing, it sounds like Vince McMahon's idea, because Huge Erection has Vince McMahon written all over it.
Yeah, because of his humor. I love it.
Yeah. They're gonna call this guy a giant boner on national television, and we're gonna be able to do it and laugh here in Connecticut.
And when he walks, there'll be farting sounds. Yeah. You know that's his, but I don't know. Like, so you can always run with the idea that why Vince Russo's writing for WCW, Vince is calling him every week to give him all the shitty ideas. Like, hey, these are the ones we trash. Try them on your crappy show, you know?
I don't doubt it. It's a plausible idea. Like, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. I think it would. There's no reason why that couldn't happen, and there's no reason why. I mean, it's brilliant. Go and get your head writer to. It's a plausible idea. Like, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. I think it would. There's no reason why that couldn't happen, and there's no reason why. I mean, it's brilliant. Go and get your head writer to go over to the other show, do the shittiest stuff that you can think of, and then
the real NWO invasion.
Before. Like, if I was owning a business like that, and I had someone like that, and I quote unquote fired them, and then let have them go to the other team, and they're like, oh my God, we're getting their best writer, and then just shit the bed, and then go back to where you were before, just no fucking problem. It's brilliant. If that's the case, then they're both fucking smart as fuck. And they totally
never admit to it, though. That's a lawsuit.
What's that?
I said never admit to it though, because that's a lawsuit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what would the lawsuit be?
Yeah, because I mean, Time Warner pulled it all in the end anyway, so it wasn't like it went down because of Vince Russo. I mean, we all can want to say it did, and I get tired of that too. That everybody always sits there and says, "Oh, WCW destroyed WCW." It wasn't going to go on anyway. Like, there was no option for it to ever go on, and there was Bischoff wanting to buy in all those guys, but yeah, I mean, in all, I just like the whole story of it. That the $2 million that Vince won from WCW, he ended up using the $2 million to buy WCW. Always love that story.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vince Russo. I don't know. I got 10 million things. Yeah.
I know where you are with him. The world knows.
Hey man, I was that way with a couple of guys. I wasn't so much that way with Jim Cornette, just because I always felt Jim Cornette was the manager version of Bret Hart, just complaining about shit all the time. But then after listening to Corny over the last couple of years, man, I get his points of view and I respect it. And man, he's one of my favorite guys to listen to.
Entertaining.
We're talking about factions. I want to talk Backstage Factions. Back in the day, you had the Click. Very influential on using that golden shovel and burying guys, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, we don't want to get into too much new stuff, but I see it happening again. Though, the Islanders.
Oh.
So you got Nia Jax, you got Roman Reigns. I mean, there's Usos, Tamina. You know, and right as they get big power in the company, the one Simone they didn't really like is gone.
Yeah.
Kind of like the top star back in the day is gone, Bret Hart. Because the Click ousted him. He wasn't going to last. And the thing was, with the Click back in the day, they were all strong personas. When it came to the Hart Foundation, Bret was the strong persona.
Yeah.
Everybody stood behind him. And if those guys were a little bit stronger on promos, I think those guys would have kept Bret around and lasted, and there would have been a bigger little war going on with the Click and the Hart Foundation. But I don't know. I mean, the Click, I felt back in the day, was very influential on spinning the narrative. Do you feel like anybody else, from what we've learned from kids to now, you feel that anyone else in the back was spinning narratives back in the day to bury people?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I heard Hogan was, that's not really a click though. But I mean, like,
That's going to be my ending topic for today.
What?
When we get to it, my ending topic was going to be the destruction of Hulk Hogan, because that's how I feel the last couple years have been going. And I find it really funny, because my guy that got me into wrestling, got me hooked, was the Ultimate Warrior, and they do the destruction of Ultimate Warrior, and they do some bearing over the years to each other, back and forth. And now finding out all this new stuff and all these tapes and everything, and this American hero is becoming a fucking douchebag. It's crazy.
They're not going to release him, man. But then you know what? You know where he lives in Florida, so you can only give him you gotta give him the Florida thing. Anyone who lives in Florida is a little fucked up.
Well, in the words of Forrest Gump, that's a whole nother country.
Yeah.
It really is.
Dude, I mean, you type in Florida man and then your birthday, or Florida woman and then your birthday, or any date of the year, you're going to get a great fucking story. It's pretty amazing. And then, there's a Twitter account I follow called Florida Man, and every day there's new stuff. I mean, Florida is, it's a wild fucking place, man. And, so Hogan lives in Florida, so I mean that could be, you got him a grading curve. Like, you got to give him the little bit of a boost because he's living in Florida. But I don't know, man. It's been some bad shit that's gone on. But the thing is, dude's always gonna fucking make money. Dude's always gonna put asses in seats. You fucking put Hulk Hogan on a marquee, people are gonna show up. No matter what it is, he can go and call people whatever he wants. He can have a sex tape, and you put Hulk Hogan up, dude, you're going to have lines out the door. We're just waiting for a fucking ticket and a chance to see him and shake his hand. Dude, I would go, if there was a Hulk Hogan thing right now, I would go. I would go. If there was something here, if he came to Austin, Minnesota, and there was a line, I would go in line, and I would go up there, and I would shake Hogan's hand, and I would say, "Fucking dude, you're a fucking cool guy."
So I got to meet the guy.
Yeah.
I met him with Eric and the kids. Let's see. Oh, it was his 60th birthday. They did it here in Portland. It was at the Monday Night Raw.
Okay. I remember that.
On the floor right next to his birthday cake, and they had it was a Kroger birthday cake. Okay, it wasn't anything special. Okay, it wasn't what's Duff from his cupcake show or whatever the fuck that show is called makes his little ring or anything. It was, my grandma could have made it 10 times better. God rest her soul. It was terrible. Okay, but they had security around it like it was someone important. Anyway, long story short, we got to meet the guy, and yes, I'll put it this way: I'm one of your assholes that will come and stalk you because I love wrestling so fucking much. I will sit there and figure out where you are, and let's just put it that way. I figured out where the man was, and there's a little thing that went on where my son took off and went running after him in Mouth of the South. Jimmy Hart was with him. And it literally looked like Hogan bent down and looked at Nolan and just fucking gave him an earful. And Nolan came running back, but with a smile. He's like, Dad, he told me to follow him. Come on. So we get over, and there's Hogan standing with Jimmy Hart. And I come over to him, and I've never been a Hulk Hogan fan. Never been a Hulk Hogan fan. But, oh, fuck, that guy is huge. He is a big, big, big man. And
he's smaller than he is now, or than he was, because, his back.
But I got to say something that was, I told him that him and Warrior made me a fan, and I'm sure he's got a million times. He's like, oh, thanks, brother. And he actually shook my hand, and he was great. Great with the kids. He signed a couple of our belts for us. And he's a great guy personally. He didn't come off as an asshole in any way. Jimmy, great guy, by the way. This is soft spoken, so soft spoken.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys. thanks. Like, very, very nice guy.
Yeah, he was at one of the shows, and and he was like, I was like, what'd you think? He's like, oh, great job, buddy. I'm like, okay. But I think he said to everyone in the show. But
yeah, he's been doing it so long. I'm sure he's
watching,
got
like,
his one-liner for everybody.
Yeah, but dude was fucking nice. He was a fucking cool guy just to shoot the shit with for a few minutes. And I mean, he's got fucking great stories, dude. He was there when fucking Kaufman was there in Memphis, dude. Like that's cool as shit. And I mean, like, yeah, I think was it on this show that I was saying like that's the one thing I did a different podcast the other night called, man, I forgot the name of this podcast on that podcast, and now I'm forgetting the name of that podcast on this podcast. But it's called like
you gotta do some new wrestler shit and just write your notes on your hand as you're going here. You're like, oh, this is where I am today.
I really should. What up?
It's all right. This is what my notes look like this week. Just one blank sheet of paper. That's my fucking notes. That's just all good. No, man.
What up with Rob and Chris is what it's called. And and I was saying, like, the one thing, if I get back into wrestling, the one thing I have to do is I need to run in Memphis, and then I can be done. I don't need to do Japan. I can be okay with that. I can be okay not doing Japan. But Memphis is one thing that I want to do if I go back. Like, I need to get down there, do one run in Memphis. I don't know if I'd be wrestling or not, but I'd be doing something. That's what I need to do. But now I know that IWA Mid-South lost its venue. There's somewhere down there. I'm not sure where it is because some dude lit himself on fire.
Oh, fuck.
He lit his fucking like dick on fire. And not like literally, it was like
Joey Ryan getting that desperate to do shows now?
Yeah, right? What happened with him? Where is he now?
I heard a brief thing the other day. He's trying to make amends with things because I was going to look him up, Havoc up, and Villain, Scroll. We'll see what they're all doing and how they're redeeming themselves. All three of those guys are good characters in the ring. You know, it's like anything I'm going to say, and I'll have to pound it into the ground. I am looking at wrestling at a character standpoint. I could give two shits about the personal standpoint and what you do. I don't care what they eat outside the ring. I don't care how they work out outside the ring. I don't care who they fucking date outside the ring. What I care about is what goes on in the ring. And that's something we can jump back to, is that kind of what Rob was talking about, is that there's too much of that shit caring about anymore. Like, we don't watch Tom and Jerry cartoons because we want to know what the people who draw the cartoons do outside of the cartoon. No one gives a shit.
What Tom and Jerry do outside the cartoon.
Exactly, dude. We don't care that if fucking Jerry goes and shoots up heroin after show. As long as he's not coming back on screen with a hypo in his fucking arm, we're good.
Yeah. You can be fucking all whacked out, dude, and still fucking perform. We'll still get...
And that's part of the problem with wrestling now. And it's not just inside wrestling. It's us assholes on the outside of wrestling. We're criticizing it. And I can say a year ago, I was probably one of those assholes because I didn't stop for a moment and look at something. And is that, like I said, we're overlooking the ratings on TV shows. Like I said, if they sit there and go, oh, this is TV MA, then I better see beer drinking. I better see fucking, chair shots to the head. I know that's concussion worthy, but they get paid millions of dollars. It's kind of like baseball and steroids. I don't care. Nor does anybody else. And if you do, you shouldn't be watching it. If you give two shits about what Bray Wyatt does outside of the ring, you shouldn't be. That's a different show for you. That is a completely different show for you. Yeah. And that's called drama outside the ring. I don't know what to call it.
And that's going to be fucking that's like society. They want, everyone, they want to know everyone's personal story because it's like, who can we cancel? Who's it going to be? How can we see behind the scenes? See what? Let's check it out. Oh my God, you see what they did back in 2002? Do you see it?
That's a problem with I have. Peacock and doing that, going back to 2002. I don't see the Discovery Channel, A&E going back in history and wiping out Hitler documentaries because they're offensive or anything like that. They're a part of history.
Yeah.
Roddy Roddy Piper did the half black, half white thing. But I'm not saying it's okay. It's just, it wasn't okay then. But you could do it then with an understanding, because I just feel then we were all way mature to look at these topics and go, okay, we're in reality. This is a TV show. And if we're going to criticize wrestling as a TV show or anything like that, then we really need to get into any other TV show that's been out there that's killed someone. Like, fuck, I'm sure Melrose Place 90210 back in the day should be canceled at this point because they did some awful shit on it. But we're not going to look at it that way because it's not continuing. It's anything that has continued over the years. It's like basketball. Because basketball, football are still going on these days, we're going to put the race card, the political cards in it, and anything like that, and we're going to chop it apart, and we're not looking at the players in the game. We're looking at the personal guy themselves and what they do in the game and outside the game. And that's what we do with wrestling.
Yeah. And why do we want to know that? Like, I kind of agree with Rob. Like, keep people away. Like, who was it that was it New Day? That was they were heels, and then they started doing all this all this fucking good shit. No, it wasn't the New Day. And they eventually just had to turn them because they were doing all this good shit, because it was someone and their wife. And I don't remember who it was.
Well, New Day is a good example, though, man, of teams or a group or a storyline that was given time, because those guys did not get over. And those guys, they didn't get over with me. Then again, but they just kept doing it. They stick to it. They didn't care what anyone thought, and then it got over. And if I call it a New Day remedy right now, because if you do that to any of the other storylines, I think there would be a better chance of them getting over. Give them that room. Give them that time. It might not look good for the first 5 minutes, but you got to give it time. It's like a cow being born. It looks gooey and nasty right as it comes out, but give it a little time, and it'll get up on its legs and start walking by itself.
Yeah.
It's, on that side, I totally agree with you where they're not giving enough time for these storylines to actually grow or actually appear. And, chop that part down. But then, they'll chop down things that we like, and then they'll chop down things that we hate, and then they'll push things that we hate. I won't get into those. We already have quite a bit from the weekend, but
are we still talking about Steamboat?
No, the other one on my newer is our current day Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Damian Priest. Other people rave about this guy. I just see his knees buckling anytime and having a knee issue. He did it to Miz. Maybe he heard me and said, "Look, guy, I'm not doing it to you. I'm going to do it to the Miz." But so the thing I wanted to end it on with Hogan. This is such a fucking screwed up subject. Cool. The guy got a cul-de-sac, and he got over for years. And there is no way in this day and age now can a wrestling superstar have a cul-de-sac.
No.
How the fuck did that get over with everyone?
Because they fucking filmed around it as much as they could. That's what Bruce was saying, that they filmed around as much as they could. But I mean, you see him running the ropes and about to drop the big fucking leg, and you see the hair and the like, dude, he had less hair than I did, or than I do right now, and I don't know, it just didn't really matter there. There was a lot of people that were going bald back then. There's some that are in AEW too, but it's okay. I mean, they're not cul-de-sacs, but I mean, there's people which is nice.
The Blade?
Yeah. I mean, it's normal. I mean, it makes them kind of more of a badass. But Hogan, it was weird, man. But I was such a Hogan fan, I didn't care.
I don't know if that's what turned me off from Hogan or not, because he just looked like the old dude. he always looked like the old dude to me. And when I watched wrestling for WrestleMania 6, Ultimate Warrior was a young-looking guy to me. He had full head of hair. The face paint on, everything going. Yeah, that's one thing I just can never really wrap my mind. Like, Hogan's had great matches. Hogan has great promos. I'm not burying him into the ground like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I'm not trying to lose any more fans of the show because of my Bret Hart comments last week, just because I hate one Canadian. I shouldn't say hate. I just like the guy. But yeah, Hogan, man. I mean, if you can get a guy over with a cul-de-sac, why can't we get over half these gimmicks we got going on today? And I think number one, before you even put people in the ring, before anything now, you got to work kind of ass backwards. We got to start with promos. Because you can wrestle these days, but the fan base, half of them can't even fucking tell you if they're a great wrestler or not. So that doesn't even really matter anymore. But to every fan out there, whether old fans or new fans, a good promo gets you hooked.
Dude, I'm not a great wrestler, but I can cut a pretty good fucking promo. And, like, it matters more because I know tons of people who are great fucking workers and can't cut a promo worth of shit. And no one really cares about why they should be watching this match. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And, I mean, promos, you need to do a promo. And plus, they let way too many people into wrestling. They need a much better filtering system. I'll be the filtering system if that's the case. But they're letting everyone and anyone into wrestling because it's like a safe space now. And they can let whoever in. They don't need to be tough. They don't need to be badass. They don't know how to talk. It's like, well, you can come in because, everyone's welcome. And it's like, dude, this person's a little bitch. Like, I could kick their ass, and if I don't know, and like they're gonna fucking cry about it and post on social media that so and so called them a dickwad, and they're like, oh my god, they said dick and they called me a dickwad. That's male aggression, microaggression or something, and that's harassment and shit like that, man. Like, and people can't take a fucking joke anymore. People can't take a joke in wrestling, and then you let everyone in. They need a better fucking filtering system. Someone be the filtering system who's not a little puss. Like, I don't want to say pussy because
he's in the back, but he's losing his mind. That's the problem. The filtering system in the back is losing his mind on the WWE. That's the main.
Not WWE, fucking all over pro wrestling, all over indie wrestling.
Tony Khan and his dude, I'm gonna say he's drinking a lot of coffee lately. I don't think it's crap.
Yeah,
have you seen the guy? Fucking wide-eyed, like hasn't looked like he's combed his hair. His like button-up shirts are all like open now, and he's like doing promos. So like kind of like AEW is doing all the shit they said they would never do, but they're doing it now.
Totally.
And the thing is, let's be real. The next promotion that comes out and says, we're not going to do what the last promotion is going to do, you're just going to sink. Just admit to it. Yeah, we're going to fucking piggyback off this shit because that's what pro wrestling does.
Yeah.
One promotion piggybacks off another. But, where were we going? See, I go down the rabbit hole too quickly.
And in his fucking cul-de-sac.
Oh, yeah, Hogan's cul-de-sac. So.
Is that where we're going? Or people not
and it was so bland too, just yellow and red. Like, we're in the 80s. Could we not have been more creative? And so this is what I'm talking about. You had a guy who was very bland with his colors, had a cul-de-sac. I'm a kid at the time, but he looked like an older guy compared to some of the other wrestlers, but he still got over.
You didn't see WrestleMania 1 through 5.
Oh, I've seen it.
At that time, you had seen WrestleMania 1 through 5 and saw Hogan fucking destroy and fucking be top of the ship, fucking coming out with a fucking flag, waving that shit. I'm a real American, dude. Like, man, dude, he was fucking huge then. Like, I understand exactly why you would pick Oreo, though.
Do you think that's why he can't get over right now because this country's not patriotic right now? Like, if we're out, and then, like, I don't want a war to break up, by the way. I know some assholes are like, this motherfucker wants war. No, the thing is, right, it's guys like Kurt Angle. It's guys like the Patriot. It's anyone who's had that American thing. Like right now, I think if you put them on a show, they would be more of a heel.
They'd be booed. They'd be booed in a second. They'd be like, "Oh, MAGA, MAGA."
Yeah, but if I, like I said, I don't want a war. But if a war breaks out and troops go in and we're fighting for our country, protect our troops, these guys become faces. Because now they come out the American flag, we're at war, support our country, because if you don't, you're a fucking terrorist or an asshole, and you shouldn't be here, or whatever people want to say. But these guys become heroes again. And it's so weird. It's like the weather. But you have to have a negative to make it happen.
Yeah.
So, we had a couple wars. You had the Gulf War back in the day and all that good stuff. And Hogan was over. Now you have these movements, these political groups, and this cancel culture. And, I just feel like what used to be is now going to be not even part of wrestling history. I feel like if we give it another 5 years, Hogan will be slowly erased from wrestling history, kind of like they're trying to erase regular history from our real history in our lives.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's happening. It's kind of weird.
I do too. I mean, they're going to be like, Hogan once said something, dude, like, we can't have this guy, we can't have any part of him. Like, and they'll be okay with it. They'll be with it okay. Like, they'll be able to, in 5 years, take every shit you have on the internet, like, find everything that has to do with Hulk Hogan, put it all up, one little ball, and click delete. And there'll be fucking no mention of Hogan anymore. There'll be shit like that in 5 years.
The button says Benoit on it. You've been Benoit. Done.
Yeah, they'll fucking delete that shit, man. They'll find anywhere else online and fucking delete it. There's a lot of shit that's going to be deleted. A lot of shit that's going to be deleted. A lot of shit that's going to be canceled. And it's...
Do you think it's going to come back after they part ways with Peacock? I mean, that's going to happen at some point. And they say if they go back to just their regular WWE network interface and all that stuff, do you think they would put that stuff back on, or do you think they would keep it off?
Keep it off? No, that would be a way to get people to come back. So they put it back on right away and they'd advertise it. That's money. That's extra money coming in.
WWE Network back with unedited content.
Yeah, that's fucking killer. I'd be like, yeah, I'm signing up. $9.99 a month. Look it up.
Yeah. No, man, it was awesome that we got it. Then I feel like it was taken away too soon.
What?
I feel like the WWE Network was only here for a moment and was taken away too soon.
Yeah.
I love that damn thing. I mean, I know it's still the same thing on Peacock, but I don't know.
Yeah, it feels weird. But wouldn't you want to get the unedited and get to see Mae Young's tits again?
Oh, mashed potatoes in a sock.
The mashed potatoes in a sock, man.
There's that part, right? So are they going to do the hand? Are they going to edit out the hand?
The hand got canceled?
I don't know. I mean, sooner or later, it's going to come down to like just one show. You're going to be able to watch a snippet of wrestling because everything's going to become offensive.
And there'll be violence and shit. Pro wrestling violence. And be like, oh, we have violence on there. Delete.
That's why I feel like ECW will be totally canceled off of WWE Network in a year.
I mean, totally agree.
Got guys like New Jack on there.
Yeah. But then he'll be able to stay on because he's black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
That'd be some sort of weird shit like that.
It's weird.
I don't know what to do, man. I really don't know what to do. I feel like shit's just getting weirder.
Standstill.
What?
It's at a standstill. Because we're moving back into crowds in the next few months here. So, like, Raw, AEW announced they're going back to live shows.
Yeah.
We had the crowds. So this is going to make or break it because kind of like we all say in the business, it's easy to attract the fans, but once they leave, you're not getting them back.
Yeah.
It's not like any other thing you watch out there. You can watch a soap opera, you can watch your Seinfeld episodes and everything like that. They're all seasonal. Wrestling fans are very, very devoted. We're all year round. way more than that with all the content these days.
Yeah.
And it is very hard to get back into right now because everyone's got different storylines, and the ones we do like, they cannot hear us right now go, yay! And they think what they're doing is great. When those crowds come back, I hope, and not have these stupid assholes do the opposite and boo the shit that needs to be booed. And let them know, like, hey, this is craft. We've been patient. We've stuck with you guys. We're sitting at home for a year and a half. Now we're going to let you know this sucks. Bring back Brock Lesnar. And, it's... It makes me pissed off because I'm such a diehard fan. I know I'll never leave it, but it's so fucking hard to watch it right now.
Dude,
I can't blame it on pandemic. It's the writers, like you said.
Go back and watch old shit. There's plenty to watch, man. If you don't like what's going on in WWE, there's so much other shit. There's plenty of independence. You can go back for fucking 100 years, and you'll be able to find shit. I mean, that's a lot of time right there, man.
Or is it? Because if you think about it, 10 hours a week wrestling content now, before Nitro even started up, and if you didn't watch WCW too much and it was just the main brand on the thing, Raw was what, an hour, 2 hours? There's no extra shows. But 8 hours, 10 hours a month? Now we got 10 hours a week. Woof!
Yeah.
We're drenched in it. And it's I think that's part of the shows have got to cut down at least by 30%. Not so much. Yeah. At least cut the pay-per-views down.
Yeah, I mean, they're fucking, it's like, oh, it's pay-per-view? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, there is a pay-per-view today.
I thought it was Roman versus Owens this Sunday, and it was Roman versus Cesaro. I think I messaged you. I'm like, yeah, I think it's Owens versus Roman. And then, I was disappointed because I'm an Owens guy. But that was a great match, by the way. I liked it. That wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Once again, this show has been pretty much about guys that, as time goes on, what were such great superstars are not that great. I mean, and then you have those people who just won't admit to it, and I think hopefully we'll run across one of those in the next couple weeks from one of those sites.
Yeah, we'll go on there, man. And,
Steamboat, Lex Luger, and like I said, now you have this dying Hulk Hogan era. I mean, it's been around. This had legs for decades, and now I don't know. I mean, you have those guys who paint their houses in Hulk Hogan merchandise. I'd love to get one of those guys on and talk to them about the actual facts of things of what Hulk Hogan has said out loud on tapes. And did that ever change their feelings towards Hulk Hogan? I'd love to get a guy on like that.
Are you talking about outside of wrestling? What he said outside of wrestling?
Yeah.
Or he said in wrestling?
No, what he said outside of wrestling. So, you got, just to give you an example, I know a guy who is a big Hulk Hogan fan. I mean, you look at, he's got one of those, like, man caves. This is the extra bedroom, but it's filled full of Hulk Hogan stuff. Like, sits in it, watches pay-per-views. He's got a 3 or 4 foot Hulk Hogan figure. It's crazy. He's actually got one of his shirts from a pay-per-view that he ripped off and threw in the crowd. He's got a frame. It's really cool.
Whoa.
But you devote your life, kind of like we have for pro wrestling. Around me, I'm in the Threadhead custom clothing factory right now behind me. So I've devoted my life for 30 years. I've made a side business on this, doing custom clothing for action figures that they do and all that good stuff. And I've done it that way. Some people have devoted their lives of just being a mark for one guy and plastering it all over their house if, their wives let them or their moms let them, whatever. You have all that around you, and then all of a sudden you hear that the guy has said the N-word. He could be a racist. And you have all that around you. At that moment, do you feel like now you're supporting a racist, or are you supporting the character Hulk Hogan himself in wrestling? And I'm not saying Hulk Hogan is a racist, but this is how people are going to take his comments that he did a few years ago. What did that change anything for a Hulk Hogan fan?
You know what? It didn't for me. But I'm not like all Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, see, nor am I. So for me, it was just kind of like, he said something fucking stupid, But we know there's all like, that isn't stupid. That is way serious. I mean, I get it. It has caused a lot of problems by saying that word. But I'm looking at the standpoint, I don't know the guy. I don't know the guy he said it to. It's not my business. Yeah. What I do with Hulk Hogan is watch him on TV. But then you can get grief like, oh. So you go to the guy's house. Here's another example. Go to the guy's house. You just find out Hulk Hogan said this. You walk into your buddy's house. It's got Hulk Hogan stuff everywhere. Well, that question's going to rise like, hey, man, did you hear what Hulk Hogan said? And what kind of conversation starts there for that guy? And like I said, Hulk Hogan's just a topic for me this week of a guy who is slowly fading out in wrestling. Totally looks like he denies it, by the way, when he's talked to about it. He's just like, oh, yeah, brother. Like, just, oh, shit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, as a fan, I want to know, like, how that affected a fan. Like, when you found out about Hulk Hogan saying those remarks and you doused in your house in Hulk Hogan gear, you wear Hulk Hogan gear every day. Maybe you shaved a cul-de-sac in your head to look like Hulk Hogan. But how did you feel when those things were said? And that it's an actual fact. I mean, it's recorded. It's not some mumbo-jumbo that someone said. But, yeah. I mean,
you know what? Would you ever burn any of the shit that you had? Like, I saw people do it with the NFL. When the NFL was doing it after something, was it after the fucking Kaepernick shit or something? Or
yeah, something about the Nike shoes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and burn my fucking NFL jersey, like douse it in fucking lighter fluid. It's like, dude, like you're making it way more of a like thing. Like when you break up with someone and you go and you burn their shit, like that's way more like huge. Like that's like you're giving that other person so much more power, like as opposed to just taking it and throwing it in the garbage or like taking it to Goodwill. Like I can't tell you how many fucking Adrian Peterson jerseys I've seen up here in Minnesota at Goodwill. Holy shit. Every store, I don't know, almost every store
has an Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, almost always. Any Goodwill or Salvation Army, 90% of the time has an Adrian Peterson jersey in it. Sometimes up to like 4.
You probably find the whole roster. It's not like they had great players anyway.
No, and the Brett Favre ones. Brett Favre and Adrian Peterson. I can find those anywhere.
Brett Favre. Oh, that's a whole new sports podcast to go down right there. The guy who hung on too long.
He'll always be cool in my book because there's something about Mary. Other than that, I could give less of a fuck about the guy. I don't know him personally, but he was in that movie, and that movie was fucking cool.
Yeah, so. I haven't seen that movie for a while. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting to find some people to bring on this show, just, to banter back and forth about some of the things we're against. I could give 2 shits about someone coming on for Bret Hart, by the way. Don't even try. Don't waste my time. I'll just put it at this. You're not going to change my mind on Bret Hart just because he still sits there to this day and just bitches and blames everybody still. Like, man, it's a 2-way street. You've done stupid shit. I've done stupid shit. Bret Hart's done stupid shit, but according to him, no, he hasn't. So, but yeah, I'm going to be doing some homework this week for sure on a couple of things.
Yeah, I'll hit up someone for the I'll go into the Luger fan group and I'll go into the Ricky Steamboat fan group, and I'm gonna put out a post and be like, hey, we got a podcast here. We want someone who is a big fan of them. I think I don't even know if we should specify it to someone who thinks that Steamboat's best match wasn't with Flair or Savage. I think we need to find a Steamboat fan. And then
because I want promos too. I want someone to be like, this was his best promo. This was his best match. This was his best year. This was his best title run. Anything like that. I want to know because, I'll admit I haven't watched all of it only because there's I've seen a few things that just hasn't caught my attention where I'm just like, all right, I'll move on to another guy.
Yeah.
You know, and at this point in my life, I'm trying to learn everything there is, you know, and that includes wrestling. And like I said, I'm open. And if there's something out there that we are missing, that like, oh, dude, you haven't seen this about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and we see it and we're like, oh, well, shit. Hey, there's something. You know, we'll talk about it. We're not going to be like, oh, yeah, that's cool, and come on the show and be like, no, we still haven't seen anything. No, like that, you know? Like, we're down, but it's getting to that point where Rob with us, he's a WCW guy. No.
Yeah.
You know, WCW guys can go Dusty. They can go Flair. Horseman. Anything like that. But you never hear him just go, oh, yeah, Steamboat and this promo was fucking great. You know, you hear Roddy Piper in WWE on Piper's Pit. Fuck, even Brother Love could cut a better promo.
Yeah. He was great at it. He fucking got all kinds of heat.
See, that's what, man, I don't know. It's just so hard to watch a guy be awesome in the ring, get out the ring and be like, that's right, so-and-so, I just kicked your butt, and next week you're going to see me kick your butt again. Yeah. And it's just like, wow, you just kicked ass in the ring, you fucking come out talking like that? You're not real. You're not believable.
Yeah.
Like, and you obviously just fucking skipped over some lines because you go, yeah. Like, you just missed part of what you were supposed to say. And yeah, so with that, man, if you got a cold sack, couple colors, and you can get over 40 years ago, 30 years ago, why can't you do it today? The guy 1 foot was getting over at one point.
Yeah. Cool heels, man.
Yeah, and that's the problem. There are no heels. There are no faces. There's no more heroes. There's no more villains. It's everyday Joes with some dramatic drama going on behind them. And if you got that shit going on, don't bring it into the ring. I don't care. I don't want to see it. I just don't anymore. Like, I don't. I'll say it. Sasha Banks fucking irritates me outside of the fucking ring. Like, just, she is the good example of that social media being used the wrong way in wrestling. I thought New Day was using it the right way in wrestling. I think she's using it the wrong way, and that's half and half. And I think that's where Vince comes down cracking the whip on that. And so, yeah, I agree. Take it away, because if you take those things away, I think we can gain back of what we used to have. That mystery, you know? Hulk Hogan wouldn't have gotten over back in the day if we had social media. No way. No way. No fucking way. Yeah. Ultimate Warrior would have been king shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah, dude, it's...
What would you say on Twitter? Would he be like Iron Sheik on Twitter?
Yeah, because he's drama. He's crazy. And people attract to that. He would have been a way bigger star than he was then. Hulk Hogan, bland, like, oh yeah, brother. I mean, his promos are very generic, you know, but they're still great promos. He found that niche.
Yeah.
But I think social media is around then. There would have been no Hulk Hogan. I don't think it was going to happen. Even The Undertaker. I don't think we would have had an Undertaker if we had social media back then.
Yeah.
But, oh, yeah, there's some guy named Mark Calloway. He's going to be some guy, Undertaker, like a dead guy. We were all going, he would have came out and we're like, oh, that's him? Whoop-de-doo. Right?
Yeah.
We didn't hear him. He comes out unannounced, and we're like, oh, shit, what is that? It's Kane, The Undertaker. Actually, fact, by the way. He was originally named Kane.
Yeah. They wanted that shit.
Well,
you know what? Once again, Ricky Steamboat is still not over with us. And when Ricky Steamboat is over with us, maybe that's the end of this show.
Yeah.
But yeah, until then, we're gonna be the guys that says the WrestleMania 3 match with Savage and Steamboat was okay. It's not the greatest match ever. Get over yourselves. Come at us.
And, yeah, so do some homework this week, and I'm going to destroy myself because I'm going to watch Raw, AEW, SmackDown. I already went through the pain of the pay-per-view, so I already did that one. and try to get through these shows this week so I can come back and say something positive next week about this stuff. I don't want to come on every week going, oh, what did I watch this week? I take better shits and stuff on TV. I just don't want to do that. So hopefully things start changing. These live shows bring back everybody and have a good time, because that's what wrestling shows are all about too, is taking your kids, having that fucking smell of the popcorn, overpriced $9 soda with more ice in it than ever. And watching your dad drink $20 beers.
Yeah.
So that really needs to come back. Drop the fucking prices, by the way, if anyone got that message. And we all need to get back to anything like that, whether that's a movie theater, whether that's wrestling. Let's take these fucking masks off. Let's all make sure we get our shots. Take care of each other, especially when we're around each other at wrestling shows, guys, especially for these little ones. And be a better role model in front of these guys when we're going back to these shows. You know, we don't want to sit there and turn these guys into riding little shits. Been to a show like that where chairs are being thrown, all kinds of craziness. You guys got to be better role models out there, especially for a show that's PG. This guy's got to be better than this. You know, it's different when these wrestling stars are being dipshits, but we're all real. We're all fans. We've all helped build this business, because I don't give a shit what any of these wrestlers say. Without having fans, you don't get a show.
No.
And if you don't have us around, this shit will not continue. So be better with these guys, especially the little ones coming in. Don't sit there and go, fuck this fag, fuck this bitch. Just knock it off. That's your own opinion. Keep it to yourself, or bitch on the internet with your friends. Don't do it at a live show, because we're driving the little ones away. And we're not getting new fans, and that's showing in the ratings.
Yeah, don't fuck with the kids, yo.
Yeah, man, that's one of my favorite things. Me and Rusty we just, before we even got on today, and we'll kind of leave it at this, is that we went to show my oldest daughter, who's now about to be 16. Some of the best shows I've ever gone to is taking kids and watching their faces watch the stuff that we watched.
Yeah.
And, me and him will sit here and Rob will bash it into the ground because we're allowed to, because we've watched it for so long. But don't do it for the kids. And, you know, we've all got our damn opinions. We don't like Steamboat. We don't like Luger. I barely hang on to Hogan. But don't do that right out the door for these kids. Let them make their own opinions. Let them like who they want to like. Don't cram the shit down their throat because you like the guy. My son doesn't like Shawn Michaels because I like Shawn Michaels. He likes fucking John Cena. You know what?
Right.
Power to him. He's a great role model. He's a great guy. I've met the guy. Awesome dude. But this shit needs to stop. And, man, we got to be better. And that's for everything. And we got to be better fans and not sit there and go, it's all shit. And I know I did that on this show, but for fuck's sake, you had zombies around the goddamn ring this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, the Cesaro-Roman Reigns match, it was pretty good. So,
yeah.
But that's all I got to bitch about this week.
Everyone be better. We'll still bitch. But, you know,
the show's all about.
Life's about some bitching. But if you're better, then you're better. Just be a better person. You don't be if you get better wrestling shows, that's okay, but be a better person. Don't be a dick. I mean, you can be a dick, but be a cool dick.
Yeah, it takes no effort, actually. Every day.
Yeah.
Just be a
Yeah. And you know, one more thing. This has nothing to do with it, but go and call up a person or call up a restaurant after you go to a restaurant and tell about how good your server was and let them know about it. Let the manager know about it and just do that. Do that sometime instead of complaining. Anytime you think about complaining about that, go and call. You can complain at one restaurant, but at the next restaurant you go to, go and say how good your fucking server was. I don't know, man. We both worked in restaurants and bars and stuff, like, you know.
People love me.
Yeah, right. You get plenty of shit, but
no, it's true, man. And you saying that reminds me, I'm actually gonna do that as soon as I get off of here for a lady at Joanne Fabrics who went well above the duty of what she needed to do at Joanne Fabrics for our business, man. She found that I was looking for. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, let's start complimenting. Let's start sending good vibes everywhere, because when you send something like that, a shitty comment to a workplace, and then that gets back to the worker, they could be having a good morning, have that happen, and now they're feeling negative. Then their customers will feel the negativity, and it's just a shitty fucking hurricane, man. So yeah. Wow, we ended it on a positive note. Jeez.
Yeah, we did.
That'll be the one time we do that, because next week I'll make sure I ended on the shittiest fucking note possible.
Talking about Steamboat.
And hopefully Rob will be back with us next week.
Yeah,
we'll show us three going the miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that, everyone, thank you for those folks out there who are listening, who will be tuning in. There will be more. We will not stop. This is only the beginning.
Yes. All right. Well, I'll see you on the flip.